We now have must-watch TV. 60 is a number now. I'm on board, one away from tying Roger Maris. That, of course, is Aaron Judge. The NFL has proven us every single week, of course, it is must-watch TV. And you have to stick around until triple zeros on the clock, because even teams down double digits in the fourth quarter are not done. We'll get into that as well. We've got the Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em as well with the American Cancer Society's Anthony Marino. He is a rabid Bills fan. He's coming up on the show
good
as well.
He's feeling good.
He should. He should feel really good right now. All right, let's get going here on Onorato and Company.
This is Onorato and Company, brought to you by Alpen House.
Shout out to Andy Heck, Katie Osborne, the entire team at Alpen House in Amsterdam and Clifton Park, where we are each and every month. One of their locations anyway, whether it's the pool and ski shop or the RV store, you can find us at an Alpen House location each and every month. All right, the news to me today is Aaron Judge sits at 60, and today is Thursday.
Yeah.
You're watching us on Saturday. You're thinking, hey, that's not today. You might be watching us Saturday at 6 o'clock on my 4. You might be watching us at our new time and location Sunday morning at 6 a.m.
Shout out to my grandpa.
13, where Ashley's grandfather found us for
Grandpa,
the first
you're
time.
watching.
For the first time?
Maybe for the first time. He doesn't have like a phone with internet. He may have seen us on my 4 before.
The man's 92 years old. He's not checking out social media.
Yeah, no, I know. So this is a perfect place for him. Channel 13 on Sunday mornings.
So Judge is closing in on 61. Maybe he's already passed. He's closing in on 61. He's at 60. And people are like, hey, that's Babe Ruth's number. I don't really care. It's below the American League record, right? Like, we didn't talk about when Judge tied Giancarlo Stanton or Ken Griffey Jr. on his way to. I get it's a Yankees record, and it was the record when Ruth said it back in the late 20s. But 61 is the number we're all looking at because it is now the Yankees franchise record. And in a cool way, we'll be able to celebrate Aaron Judge as a home run king because he will have the American League record. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds were all NL players. So there's something here that Judge can claim as being a home run king, and that will be the number one dog in a specific league. It's obviously going to happen at this point. He kickstarts a ridiculous rally in the 9th inning.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And we can kind of get into where we think he ends up. But Ash, I don't know. What for you is the bigger storyline here? The fact that he's got 60 or that was a memorable night in the Bronx?
The fact that he has 60. I mean, listen, it was the best win of the season. And I forget, I think it was Michael Kay who said it, but it may have been one of his broadcasting partners who said, man, I feel bad for you if you left that game early. They were down 4 runs going to the 9th. And shame on you if you left that game early, because you go to that game for one reason, and it's to watch Aaron Judge hit a home run. Right. So you don't leave until his final at bat. But you got to think, like, as soon as he hit that home run, I did think, all right, maybe. And then by the time they had the bases loaded with no outs, I thought, if they don't get this done, they're going to be Yankee fans quitting all over the planet, because it just felt like the stadium got electric as soon as he hit that home run, and they were still down 3, nobody on base, no outs, and the stadium was electric.
Carol's watching. We knew she would be for sure. Good morning to you, Carol. Sam, good morning to you. Sam, let me answer your question right now while I've got you, because you tweeted at me and I haven't had a chance to get back to you. So our guest pickers this year, I think we've said it a couple of times on the show with the Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em. We're going to alternate each and every week between one of our local business partners. So we've already had Andy Heck on from Alpen House. We'll just do that every other week. And then every other week will be a representative of a local nonprofit. So that's kind of our setup this year, as we did viewers last year. The J-Man is watching here as well. I think I've already said the day Thursday because I'm so
yeah.
programmed to be
You're
doing
wrong.
this on it's Wednesday. Ash and I are out of town for work on Thursday. So yes, we are a day early here. I was not awake, you know that,
Yeah, I was.
but I went back and I watched the video. I watched the entirety of the inning this
Mhm.
morning.
Wow.
And it had a buzz, a feel like the crowd just knew. Now it all set up. There was nobody out
Yep.
and the bases were loaded. So they weren't going to lose 8-5. They had to drive it, but to win the darn thing on a walk-off grand slam from Stanton, the momentum is there. It's a 5.5 game lead, middle of the week now in that division. The division's over. It's done.
Well,
The only number we're worried about here is where does Judge fall in the line of history, and kind of here's where we are in terms of the single season home run leaders. Bonds in 01, McGuire and Sosa, they're 2 and 3 in 1998. McGuire again in 99. Sosa at 5 and 6. He did that in 99 and 2001. And then Maris was 61, obviously. So where does Judge sandwich himself in on this list? Obviously, unfortunately, not at 74, but he could certainly crack top 3.
yeah. I was gonna say somewhere between McGuire and Sosa, whether it's somewhere between 70 and 66 or 66 and 65. Somewhere between that McGuire Sosa logjam there.
Yeah, there is an over under in Vegas now. I think it was at 65-ish.
Okay.
Right, we're talking 15 games to
Fair.
play. He's at 60.
Yeah.
That's reasonable, but he's
Mhm.
got
Home run every 3
Pittsburgh.
games. Yeah.
He's got Boston again. 4 straight games here, or 5 straight games here of average at best pitching. So this thing could get kind of interesting and exciting over the weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I said this to you, I think the other day. At what point do teams stop pitching to him? I understand, but my thing is too, and I did think about this morning, and I was going to ask you this question. So you get a guy like Will Crow throwing last night in a game. It's not like it's Max Scherzer, and you don't want to be a part of history. I do think, if you're going to be a journeyman MLB player and someone who is not all that well known for doing anything, why not be the guy who gives up the home run?
No.
Someone is going to remember your name.
No.
Otherwise, they wouldn't remember it. I'll take that over not being remembered at all.
Yeah, but that's like saying, hey, might as well be remembered for, being a serial killer. Otherwise, no one's going to remember you in history. I don't want my name tied to giving up the record-breaking home run.
That's the most ridiculous analogy you've ever made. You just compared a serial killer to a baseball pitcher. Come on.
I'm just saying, I don't want to insert myself into history for to me, this is the wrong reason. Now, I'm not telling you that I'm going to just go 4 wide and, hey, take first base, or I'm going to be too careful to pitch around you. I don't know. This is going to get interesting here. He's at 60. Do pitchers not throw to him tonight? When he's at 61, do pitchers decide I'm not going to throw to you because I don't want to be – I think was it Mike Bassick, I think, who gave up the 71 to Bonds when he broke the record in 2001. It was Steve Traxel who gave up 62 to McGuire in 98. So these names, yes, they stay in the conscience.
I mean, not that Steve Traxel was a guy that wouldn't otherwise be remembered. I remember that guy, but Will Crow, maybe not. And who knows what Pittsburgh pitcher it could be tonight or what Red Sox pitcher it could be tomorrow. If you're the Red Sox, you just don't want it to happen against you because that is your arch bitter rival. It's the Yankees. It's Judge. Everything about it feels wrong. But listen, I always say, don't be a wuss.
But it's going to, right? It's going to happen against the Red Sox.
You have to pitch to them. First of all, for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Boston Red Sox, it essentially these games mean nothing. So for you to pitch around him is kind of a joke. Go at him.
It's going to happen against the Red Sox, right? I mean, it has to, because even if he doesn't hit it in the last game against the Pirates, he's got 4 against Boston.
Yes.
It's going to happen against the Red Sox. Point blank.
I hope.
Now, my guess is that Sunday game is the Sunday night game. Did ESPN?
I don't know, but probably.
Are they fortunate enough to have that?
If not, can they flex it?
No. Well, I'm sure they could.
I'm
Look,
sure.
if you're ESPN, and this is what happened in 98, and I get it, we don't do things the same way we did in the late 90s because technology has advanced. But the beauty of what was going on with McGuire and Sosa and then Bonds a few years later was that they would break in.
Mhm.
I mean, ESPN broke in every single at bat.
Yep.
And they would then pick up an important Bonds or McGuire game because they wanted to say, hey, we had that record breaker on our. I don't know that is going to happen here. Are the broadcasting rights too exclusive at this point? We know the Friday night deal. The Friday night's game's on Apple TV, by the way, people. So get ready to lose your minds.
Well, and the very well, if it doesn't do it tonight, tomorrow night's game could very well be rained out. It looks like it's going to rain all day down there.
So if he doesn't do it on Wednesday night, my gosh, what day is it? On Wednesday night, and they get rained out Thursday, you're still only talking about, hey, he'd be looking to tie it. But we saw this guy hit 2 in one game twice now in the last week and a half or so. So it's possible that he goes 61-62 in the same night, and it's possible that it happens on a subscription streaming service.
That would be pretty bad.
Those are the breaks.
Sam, I disagree here.
Those are the
Listen, I agree that in the long run, this is more important, that this division race between these two teams is more important.
No, it's not.
Tonight,
No,
tomorrow night, the next night, there is nothing more important in the sport of baseball than every Aaron Judge at bat. I am feeling so nostalgic. I feel like I'm back in the 90s when I was literally glued to the TV watching McGuire and Sosa. I'm back there, and it's for my team. There's nothing more important.
This division race is not more important. There have been too many wild card teams to go on to win the World Series in the last decade plus that we know it can be done. You do not have to win the division in order to win the World Series. Now,
I
the
think
playoffs are
matchups.
The playoffs are a little bit different.
Yeah.
There are more teams in. You're not going to be able to really set up but it doesn't matter. We're talking about a Yankees franchise record, the most historic and prestigious franchise in baseball history. And we're talking about an American League record here. Winning a division, look, winning divisions are nice, but coming from somebody who won 14 straight as a fan of the Braves and won World Series, winning a division doesn't mean jack if you don't win the World Series. Now, if Judge hits 66 of these things and they don't win the World Series, this is still not a lost season for Aaron Judge. He's going to be the MVP. And oh, by the way, he might just do this as well, win the American League Triple Crown. Now, Miguel Cabrera did it in 2012, but it hadn't been done since the late 70s when Yastrzemski last did it. So it'll only be the second time in the last half century. And it's even more rare on the NL side. It hasn't been done since 1937. A Triple Crown is incredibly significant here. And this is being lost in the wash of 61 and 62 and however many more after that. But this is an incredible accomplishment too. And we haven't even begun the debate on this show, and maybe we will next week, about who wins MVP, because there are a lot of people in baseball who believe it still should be Shohei Ohtani. So that's
right there is the reason
interesting
why
to
it
watch.
shouldn't be.
I'm with you. Now,
he was hitting 250. I don't know how he'd be hitting 250 and still hit 60 home runs, but if he was hitting 250 and, everyone was a solo home run, which it's honestly not all that far off, maybe 2-run homers every time. But then you have a conversation. I just don't think, he's literally carrying his team, which will be in the playoffs. J-Man
says it is Sunday night. Beautiful. The average is the only thing in question here. He's going to win the home run crown in the AL. He's going to win the RBI crown. It's Xander Bogaerts and Aaron Judge for the American League hitting title.
Yeah, there's one other person like 1 point behind Bogaerts too. So
okay. So this thing will get interesting. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick time out here on Onorato and Company. Still the NFL Pick 6 Vodka Pick'em to come on the show. We will recap how we did, unfortunately, last week. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is not as easy as it looks, people. We're back right after this in a minute on Onorato and Company.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through products and purpose. Claim your crown.
You've heard of unsung heroes. The men and women of Nyskoba are the unseen heroes. For the past year, you've learned about our many charitable endeavors. Now it is my privilege to share with you the work performed by our members, the 20,000 state correction and law enforcement officers shielded from view. They work in difficult and dangerous conditions and are an extension of the police who protect our neighborhoods. Nyskoba honors New York's police and firefighters and salutes its own members who help deliver a peaceful night's sleep.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpin House.
Week 3 of the NFL season is here. It was a wild week 2. Let's not forget how crazy week 2 was before we spin this thing forward to week 3. And so to do that, we throw out the performance industrial, dirty, difficult, done.
And now, dirty, difficult, and done. Presented by Performance Industrial.
Bill Miller and his team in South Glens Falls and Albany do an incredible job. No job too dirty, too difficult for them to get it done. Check out our guys at Performance Industrial. They epoxy floors. They do kitchen. It's incredible the work they do. Check them out on their website. All right, Ash, let's get into it here. The dirty, difficult, done from week 2, if you will.
All right, this is my dirty, difficult, done. And it's that Jimmy G rescuing the Niners, saving the Niners, whatever you want to call it, feels dirty because of how they treated him. But I love everything about it. This is a guy who has led them to 2 NFC championship games, to 1 Super Bowl. And at the end of 2 years ago, the 49ers traded 3 first-round picks to draft Trey Lance, number 3 overall, and basically said, we've just drafted your heir apparent. And not only that, it wasn't like a Jordan Love situation where it was like, he's going to sit for as long as he needs to, and when you decide you want to go, it was we're going to push him in as quickly as possible, and you're probably out, or you're going to play, the veteran who lets this guy and leads him in. He played that role. And now, after almost being traded, not being traded, saying goodbye to all the reporters at the end of last season, he is their starting quarterback. They are relying on him to take them back to an NFC championship game. I found this stat very interesting. For Kyle Shanahan, who was the leader of the not treating Jimmy G all that well, as a head coach, is 8-29 in games not quarterbacked by Jimmy Garoppolo. If I'm him, I'm going to ride Jimmy G all the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's not shocking, because if you took any head coach's record in games in which their starting quarterback didn't play, I'm sure it is under 500.
Sure.
Maybe other than Bill Belichick. But that's okay. Okay.
You win with Jimmy G.
Yeah, he will get you to the playoffs. He'll get you deep in the playoffs.
It's not going to be sexy. None of it will be sexy.
Yeah, but I don't believe in the guy to make big throws in big moments to win football games for me. That's just not how I view him. How about this guy, Joe Flacco?
Joe Flacco.
4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. And my triple D this week is NFL teams down double digits late are not done. We learned that in Cleveland. We learned that in Baltimore. Flacco throws 2 touchdown passes over the span of 1 minute. You sandwich an onside kick in between there, and the Jets beat the Browns in stunning fashion. Then the Dolphins, Tua throws 6 touchdowns. Dolphins are down 21 points in the second half.
Yeah.
And it's Tua to Waddle and Hill and Gesicki. And before you know it, they win in Baltimore 42-38. And how about Kyler Murray? Did his homework this week, ran like a crazy man back there on a 2-point conversion. That 2-point conversion Tua had, by the way, I said on our rapid reaction KPM, I said 30 yards. He went back as far as the 22-yard line. I watched it back yesterday. The 22-yard line, and then scrambled into the end zone. Raiders.
Yeah.
What? The finishes on Sunday were
Wild.
insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Wild. Which was the
Dolphins won.
Yeah,
They
I
were
get that.
done.
I just think the points and the time in the Jets game made that even more
onside kick.
improbable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, and Nick Chubb had said, listen, my bad. I shouldn't have gone in. And I always think like that's so ridiculous. But at the end of the day, if you have the ball, there's no chance to onside kick it. And that's ultimately what they get. It's not them scoring that's the problem. It's them having the chance to get the ball back a second time if they onside kick it. That's the problem.
Can I say this, though, too? The play before that, Kareem Hunt ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
So I know we're giving Chubb the business here,
no,
but
I'm not. But
and I always say, like, score your points, defense, find a way to stop, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the thing. Like, to me, separating yourselves from the other team more is better.
We got a little discrepancy here. Sam says 82.
80 something.
Jason says 85. It doesn't matter. It was insane what he did. Absolutely insane. All right, we'll get to week 3 here, and the game's not on our board. That's coming up in a moment, but I see Anthony Marino from the American Cancer Society almost ready to go. So Ash and I will get our picks in the Pick 6 Vodka NFL Pick'em right around the corner here on Onorato and Company, guys. Back in 30 seconds.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Shout out to all of our local business partners making this show possible, expanding it now to a second day on the weekend as well. 6 p.m. on Saturday nights on my 6 a.m. Sunday mornings on News Channel 13 to get you ready for your NFL Sunday. Jeff Casey is watching as well. Good morning to you, Jeff. Always great to have you on here. Now, Anthony will love to see this comment. Melissa is a viewer during NFL season. We know that. She is a huge Bills fan. Squish the fish is one of the most fun things you can say as a fan base. I'm not even a Bills fan, and yet I think it's a lot of fun to say squish the fish. So thank you, Melissa, for jumping on here as well. All right, Ash, let's get going.
And now your weekly NFL Pick'em. Presented by Pick 6 Vodka.
We love the team at Saratoga Courage Distillery, Holly and Serge and Adam being our partners here for the weekly Pick'em segment each and every week on Onorato and Company. The first game of the weekend for us, Bills Dolphins here, 5.5, Buffalo a road favorite. I am on Miami to cover. Okay, not to win the game. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I like the fact at home.
You understand that's less than a touchdown, right?
Sure, you could win by 3 or 4 in this league.
Until the Bills win by less than 30 points, I'm not going to take any cover out there.
Okay.
What they're doing is insane. It's insane.
I know, but it can't sustain forever. I'm
forever.
riding the side of the law of averages here that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, the speed on offense for Miami makes a difference, and they're able to score enough to hang with Buffalo.
You get down 21 against the Bills, you're not putting that comeback together.
Well, no, they can't get down 21. Let's face it. All right, the next game of the weekend for us, Cincinnati at the Jets. You're on the Jets here. Okay, tell me why.
Because Joe Burrow doesn't have an offensive line. And until they can protect him. And I'm not into, I told you I would probably pick against the Jets all season long. Here, I'm not picking against the Jets, but I probably will more often than I don't. I'm not into like there's some magic juju that Joe Flacco is bringing about this team, but I am really off the Bengals, and I didn't pick them to win the division at the beginning of the season because I thought they would be down. I'm going to go with the Jets here and take a flyer. I was so bad last week, it can't get any worse. It could get worse, but it can't get much worse.
Yeah. I just don't believe that Flacco can do it again. That's all. It was wild. I just don't see him doing it again. All right. The Chiefs and the Colts here. We're both on Kansas City. You're telling just to skip it completely here, huh?
The Colts are so bad.
Don't even explain it. Okay.
Ridiculous.
Well, I won't even explain it. Let's just move on then. That's fine. Let's go to the next one here. I've got Green Bay at Tampa.
You're picking against your team? You're picking against your team. Is that a yes?
I can't. Why can't I hear you? I don't know why. I'll get that remedied here in a second.
Okay.
I'm on Tampa here because the Packers don't win at Tampa Bay, and they certainly don't beat Tom Brady. So I'm on Tampa here to cover what is just a field goal at this point, 2.5. Okay. All right, Ash, I'll give you first shot here. I'll jump in when you're done here. Niners and the Broncos, the Sunday night game on News Channel 13, WNYT.
It's as close to a pick'em as you can get. 1.5 points. Jimmy G leading the Niners. Russell Wilson has done nothing to impress with that Broncos team. On the Niners, Jimmy G. You can hear me now?
You pretty much said everything that needed to be said there. I don't trust the Broncos at all. I had them finishing last in the AFC West anyway. And now you got the steady hand of Garoppolo with San Francisco. I'm with you. They'll cover that 1.5 on the road. Here's the Monday nighter. Cowboys and the Giants. What are you doing?
I didn't learn my lesson last week. Picked against the Giants last week. I'm pretty sure didn't work out for me. Picking against them again this week. They're not good. It's not a good team.
The Cowboys are good?
No. Neither one of them is good. So it's a field goal. Like, who knows?
Okay. All right. I'm
this
on the Giants.
I am beat you or lose to you is by
picking
someone different. I didn't know who you picked, but
right. I am riding Brian Dable here. There's something that's just happening there where they win 21-20 at Tennessee on a 2-point conversion. They win on a Graham Gano 56-yard field goal. By the way, he's NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, or maybe even Offensive Player of the Week. 4 field goals in that game, 2 50-yarders in the fourth quarter. There's something special happening at MetLife right now with the Brian Dable-led New York Giants that I'm going to ride them here until I miss on them, and then I'll actually start putting some thought into these picks.
I'd be happy to lose this game.
I know you would. All right. Hey, how did we do last week, Ash?
Let's skip over
short answer there is not great. Not great.
No.
We're both 5-7 this year. You thank goodness for the Bills because you couldn't take a goose egg week 2.
No.
So you got Buffalo on Monday night, which got you to 1-5. But we're both only 5-7. Here is who our guest is chasing this week. Average start here for our 2 guest pickers, Peter Gannon from the United Way, Andy Heck from Alpenhaus, both 3-3. And you guys know
what? I'll take average every week. I'd take 3-3 every week versus a 4-2 week and a 1-5 week like I pulled off somehow.
Yeah, and you guys know the deal at this point. The top record from a nonprofit locally will get a nice donation from our local business partners here on Onorato and Company. So that is a very, very cool thing. All right, let's bring our guest.
Winning sponsor out to dinner.
Right, correct. Maybe you'd rather have dinner with us than them. No, you'd rather have the money. Let's bring our guest picker into the conversation here. Finally, Anthony Marino has been patient enough with us. Anthony, man, congrats on your Bills so far. And we'll talk about a big award you're getting this week as well. But first of all, man, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. It's great to be on with both of you and to be the guest picker. Hopefully I can finish above 500 this week.
Are you feeling good after this start?
You know, I'm feeling great after the start. And I'll be honest, that game against the Rams, everyone predicting the Bills as a Super Bowl favorite, you get to that point and you're not used to having that kind of expectations, right? Like you go through the drought, you're just thinking to yourself, let's make the playoffs. Let's, sneak by someone. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're opening at the Super Bowl champion. You're a favorite on the Thursday night opener. And it was absolute domination. And then to come back and do the same thing against the Titans. I'm not used to having these types of feelings, but it's, Bills fans have paid their dues for a long period of time. And Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, like Everybody loves those guys.
By the way, look at the backdrop here. Is this a home office or are you at work?
This is a home office, and I will be honest with you. At the start of the pandemic, like many people, you were shuffling to find a space to work from home, and I had a just white wall behind me, and it looked like I was in solitary confinement. So I said, it is time to get some things going here, some gifts from my kids, from mementos from ACS, and of course some Bills and Ted Lasso memorabilia, which are always some of my favorites.
Yeah, I was going to say the homage to Ted Lasso there. Real Men Wear Pink up behind you as well. Those are cut up license plates spelling out Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, it is. It's always been one of those things. My kids have loved, tracking license plates from the 50 different states from the time they were little, right, to make the time pass on those long road trips. So when they saw that, it was a must have, and I'm proudly display it.
That's very cool, man.
Really cool.
All right. So, at this point, you just have to beat Gannon's 3-3. So we're kind of teeing one up here you
I guess
pretty easily, right? You just have to beat Peter at 3-3. Here are our picks now head to head with you, Anthony. You like the Bills. You should. You're on the Bengals, Chiefs, Packers, Niners, Giants. All right. First, let's go to the Bengals here because we know why you picked the Bills. But the Bengals here against the Jets, a team that's 0-2 and made it to the Super Bowl last year, man.
Yeah, and it's weird with the Bengals, right? I mean, Joe Burrow and that offensive line have just struggled in these first couple of weeks. You have so many friends that are Jets fans, so to see them pull out the victory over the Browns last week was exciting and was happy for everyone. But when it comes to making the picks, even laying the points, the Bengals have to bounce back at some point. They've just got too much talent, and I'm just not convinced that Joe Flacco can do it 2 weeks in a row.
That was kind of Chris's thing too. Chiefs, easy pick, right? I mean, we kind of skipped over it because it felt so easy.
Yeah, and it hurts because, Frank Reich, former beloved Buffalo Bill head coach, have always had a soft spot for him and his team. And just a horrible start when you think of the way they have played in these first 2 weeks. So the Chiefs, honestly, I was surprised it was only 6.5 points. I don't think home field advantage really means as much in some places, and Indianapolis is certainly one of those. So I thought the Chiefs were an easy pick.
All right, now you're on my Packers here. I'm the only one not picking Green Bay. How about that?
This is silly.
Why Green Bay, despite everything everybody has said about the lack of wide receiving talent, the way they looked week 1, why Green Bay on the road at Brady?
Yeah, and I think Green Bay, they settled in week 2. I mean, granted, it was against the Bears, but they did the same thing last year to start the season, right? Really throwing up a stinker. And I don't know, is Tom Brady like on the verge of just having a complete meltdown? I mean, I do take a lot of joy in seeing that when he's throwing tablets and like eyes are popping out of his head in different pieces. But there's something weird going on in Tampa Bay. And that's not even my disdain for Tom Brady, but just with some of the injuries and different pieces. They might be without Mike Evans now. I don't know if he's going to appeal that suspension, but Aaron Rodgers, I think we saw a good bounce back, and I like Aaron Jones. I like AJ Dillon, what they can do in that rush attack. See them.
Yeah, I mean, they won't have Godwin or Mike Evans. Right. They signed your former boy Cole Beasley, who kept things interesting in Buffalo for an offseason or two. So yeah, okay. Now we're all on the Niners here as well. But you like the Giants on Monday night at home. I love that.
Yeah, and you know what? With the Giants, I mean, Brian Dable, Joe Shane, what they have been able to do these first 2 weeks, all of Bills fans have a soft spot in their heart for those two guys because really helped get the team to where they are today. So for Dable to get that opportunity to be a head coach for the first time and, to have 2 emotional wins, I mean, that week 1 win, right? We talked about Ted Lasso before. It was reminiscent. I mean, you see Dable dancing in the locker room with his players. It made me think of that opening scene of Ted Lasso. And when you see a coach like that is beloved by his players, they're bought in. And they certainly did not have that with Joe Judge. And if Brian Dable has that, and let's be honest, I mean, the Cowboys without Dak Prescott, like they're a bit beat up too. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Yeah, Anthony, I think you're right about it. Just seems this feels like a different team. Whether or not the Giants beat any good teams this year, in the past, they haven't beaten the teams they were supposed to beat. They haven't beaten the below average to mediocre teams. And even if they can do that in Brian Dable's first season, I think that's a huge step forward. And you can tell that they're already playing for this guy. So whether or not they do any better than 500, or even if it's below 500, I think the feeling is just different for Giants fans. So yeah, I think you're right. It's so much different than Joe Judge. It's also so much different than Ben McAdoo. Those prior two coaches, it's just such a difference. It's completely opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, and to have Saquon Barkley back just makes such a huge difference, right? And I've always been a fan of his, and especially in that Week 1 victory. I mean, that was the vintage Saquon that fans have grown to love. So it's been good to see him having success early on.
How many Bills games will you get to this year?
You know, we were looking at the schedule the other day. I mean, you guys know we've got 3 kids that all play sports and have different school activities, and it gets to be a challenge. We went out to Week 17 last year when there was like 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it was like 5 degrees below zero. So we'll see what we can do this year. But I'm also a little bit of a nervous fan. My family makes fun of me because I pace back and forth in front of the TV. So sometimes just to be in my safe space is all right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that we coordinated this. I'm wearing pink. Ash is wearing pink. I'm sure there's a touch of pink in your shirt as well, Anthony. I want to congratulate you on an award you're going to be given this week at the American Cancer Society's basketball, which is such a great event that you guys put on. Your commitment to this fight against cancer, it's beyond well-deserved. And what does it mean to you?
Honestly, it means everything to me. When I started at ACS almost 17 years ago, I knew this was something that I wanted to do with Coaches versus Cancer, right? You love the game of college basketball. You grow up idolizing so many of these coaches and what they've been able to accomplish on the court. And then you start to learn, oh my gosh, here is what they do in their communities to help in the fight against cancer. So thankfully, we were able to start something. Here we are 17 years later. When Ken Raymond asked me to be the honoree, I mean, usually I'm the one asking someone else to be honored at that event. So it did catch me a little bit off guard. But I am just truly, truly humbled to be receiving that award. And it should be a great night.
It's always an amazing night. Jerry McNamara going to be there. And also 2 of Chris's brothers, student athletes, will be honored. Yeah. And those are 2 kids who are as inspiring as it gets in Evan Franz and Joe Carista.
Yeah. And to have these young men with us, you know, each year we have these student athletes that join us, and the entire Tamarack community is always so supportive of everything that we do at the American Cancer Society. I'm happy to have them with us to receive that Marianne Donnelly Award. It just means so much to everyone, and to have them join us again will just be another part of a very special night.
All right, Anthony, you need 4 wins, man, to put yourself on the top of the leaderboard. I see it in your future, buddy. I see a Bills victory in your future as well. Just for Dolphins backdoor cover. Don't hate me for that.
It's all good. Like I said, the expectations are tough to deal with. So I'm never going to pick against them, but there's always that. I mean, listen, you saw that comeback from the Dolphins. It should be a great game, probably high scoring, and let's see what happens on Sunday.
All right, I might get to Packers-Bills on Goosey Night. We called it Goosey Night in New Jersey, the night before Halloween. Is that a thing in upstate New York? No. Anyway, it's October 30th, Sunday night, when you would TP houses and throw eggs. I never did it. I saw other people do it. Sure. So I might be at Packers-Bills. If it happens, I'll let you know, and maybe we'll figure something out, Anthony, man. So thank you so much for jumping on the show, and good luck this week.
Thank you both. It was a pleasure.
All right, Anthony Marino from the American Cancer Society, who does great things with ACS locally. And I mean, he's the Northeast region guy. So we claim him here in the Albany area, but he travels the Northeast constantly doing great things for cancer research and supporting people who are in the fight itself. All right, Ash, when we come back here on Onorato and Company, the Week 3 games not on our Pick 6 Vodka Pick'em board. There are some intriguing games this week that I think are worth talking about here. We're back right after this.
I don't care what kind of stories that's been told on you. That may be a lot of things in life you used to do. If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. you can.
Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs and 95 calories.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
So much of the world was tuned into the Queen's funeral this week. I don't know how many people watched on TV. It was like more than 2 billion watched Princess Diana's funeral.
Okay. My guess is this
that was like 97, I think.
Yeah, this will be more.
I would
Because
guess
of all the ways you
more.
can take it in.
I would think so. Was the Queen as beloved as Princess Diana internationally?
I'm going to say yes.
It's
The whole
close.
thing with Princess Diana was her age and how it happened. The Queen she's held the crown for 70 years. Everyone from 99-year-olds or 105-year-olds down to, little kids, it's all that they've known. So it's a little bit different. And she's the Queen. Princess Diana was a princess who was not of the she was married into the royal family. So while it was devastating, I think this is very different.
I've asked this question a number of times around the station in the last week and a half or so, and I did it.
What are some of the answers you've gotten?
The day the Queen died, and everybody started talking about the hundreds of thousands of people that would make their way to her viewing, if you will. And they waited online that was 5 miles long.
24
and
hours.
more than 24 hours. I thought to myself, is there any public figure that would compel you to travel not outside of your zip code, because that's easy to do, outside of your area code? We in the Albany area are in the 518. Would you travel outside of the 518 to pay your respects to any public figure?
Probably not. Like if the Queen had a viewing in Washington, D.C., would I be interested in going? Maybe. I just also am not all for large crowds and standing in line for I'm going to pay my respects with my own private moments and prayers and everything else. I'm not sure that would really do it for me. I don't know that I would feel closer to someone because I saw their casket that I never really knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right. And you just skipped over the idea of doing it for any U.S. president. You said they'd have to fly the Queen from England to Washington, D.C. to get you to leave the 518.
Yeah, I don't
Not
think
a leader of our country.
I don't think I would do it for a president either. There's nobody who I would want, and this sounds like selfish, but I don't want to stand in line for 12 hours or 24 hours. There's no one that's that compelling to me that I feel like, again, it would make that big of a difference in my life to be there versus, do it my own way.
Who's the closest call for you? Carmelo Anthony? Well, who's the closest call where you're like, this person is my childhood and I have to, I don't even have.
I literally can't think of one person. Maybe if I was alive for JFK, that would have been something. But
okay, yeah. I mean, it's the deaths.
Elvis. It's the ones
tragedy.
That are tragic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's those that happen when you don't expect it.
Yep. And age too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did think this was cool in terms of the way public figures are remembered, or I guess in this way it was really transported. But when they took George H.W. Bush,
I was just going to say that
by train,
I might have gone.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that was really cool. And that to me was like, oh, hey, you want to go visit family in Houston and see something really, that to me was so unique and different that I think that would have been very cool. So maybe that would have been one. But if I had to just wait in line for 12 hours, then no. And that's like when you saw the procession for the Queen's funeral. I mean, there were people along every inch of that procession, every inch of it. Even when they got outside of London proper on their way to where she would be, was it Westminster? Well, no, from Westminster Abbey, obviously, then to where she got in the hearse and drove. But every second of that car ride in the hearse full of people.
Crazy.
I may have gone to see that for, 5 minutes or so, but it's literally all you get is like 30 seconds.
Right.
Drive
And so
by ya.
again, your answer is you wouldn't travel outside your area if HW's train happens to pass through your town, or
No,
the Queen's.
I might travel outside the area for that.
All right.
But I don't want to wait in line for 12 hours. I want to go somewhere where it's like I'll show up a couple hours, wait for her to come by, him to come by, wave, cool, I'm out.
Would you wait for anything for 12 hours?
No.
All right. Is Syracuse for real? They're 3-0. Louisville, UConn, Purdue. They now have 3 more home games in a row. Are we looking at a 6-0 Syracuse team at the end of this homestand?
No.
Okay. What?
No.
There's a lot of belief there.
I think Syracuse is for real-ish, but let us not forget that they play in the ACC with several teams who are ranked in the top 25 that they're going to play against. Listen, those are good teams. Those are teams that Syracuse hasn't beaten in 100 years, it feels
Okay,
like.
they're nice teams, but they're not New Year's Day bowl teams.
Clemson might be. Yeah.
Clemson's the only one. I know you're talking about NC State and Pitt and North Carolina and Wake Forest.
And Florida State. Yeah, I get it.
Nice teams.
But they're bowl teams for sure.
Was Florida State back?
Although if you're expanding that to 12 teams, they may very well be in the college football playoff. So
but I'm even just talking about the New Year's Six,
before.
right?
Yeah.
Is Florida State back? Is this a thing? Florida State, are they back?
Not back, but they're good. They're better than they have been.
Yeah, much better than they have been. That's for darn sure.
And then this is another thing. Maybe the only thing I would wait 12 hours in line for is like if someone said you can have tickets to a Syracuse basketball national championship game, but you have to wait in line for 12 hours. There's a chance I do it.
Boy, yeah, I don't even know that you could don't know that you could get
Packers
me to do
Super
that
Bowl?
Outside of Lambeau, or I've told you,
Packers Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't have
NFC Championship game.
There it is. I'd have no desire to go to a Packers Super Bowl. I would rather watch that at home. An NFC Championship game at Lambeau Field, no, I'm interested because I'm surrounded by other people who are incredibly invested in that. And it's much more of a football experience than the Super Bowl, which, gets knocked all the time for being as corporate as it is. All right, one last break here on Onorato and Company. We will wrap week 3 in the NFL when we come back.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
Fire, water, smoke, mold, and sewage cleanup. Reconstructing your home after a disaster can be both stressful and demanding. KPM Restoration will work quickly to restore your home. We'll help provide complete damage restoration to your property.
My problem was that I was traveling. There was a leak in my basement. We called KPM. They came in at 9 o'clock at night and were there till 2 o'clock in the morning until the problem was solved.
KPM Restoration. We'll get you back to normal.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhouse.
And KPM Restoration, our sponsor with the rapid reaction each and every week. And lately you've been finding us on Monday mornings reacting to the football weekend. You can catch us 2 times now on the weekend. Saturday nights at 6 p.m. Used to be at 6:30. Now at 6 p.m. on My 4. Sunday mornings to get you ready for football at 6 a.m. on News Channel 13. So a couple ways to find us over the weekend. If you don't catch the live stream on social media, or if you don't watch us back after the fact. Here are some week 3 games, Ashley, that I think are worth talking about that we did not pick against the spread. Pittsburgh and Cleveland is that Thursday nighter. Everybody get your Amazon Prime subscription up to date to watch this AFC North rivalry. Yeah. Big game for both teams here, and it may go a long way in deciding Mitchell Trubisky's time as the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh. People are already saying it should be Kenny Pickett. They're 1-1, everybody. Let's just take a deep
calm down
here, okay? Cleveland at home for you?
Maybe. I get. Do you know what the spread is on that? I would say Cleveland at home, but yeah.
I don't, but I'll pull them up here now while we're talking about it. I'm not asking you to cover, just saying straight up winner who wins this game. I think it's Cleveland too. I think without TJ Watt, I think they find a way, the Browns do, to run the ball very effectively with Hunt and Chubb. Browns are 4.5-point favorites.
Okay.
Baltimore, New England. I don't know. Does New England stink? They don't stink maybe as much as we thought they did after week 1. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't think they're great. And I think you're going to get a real angry Ravens team that maybe comes out and just says, you know what, forget 21. Let's put up 35 and not let this get close at any point.
I have been so bad 2 weeks into the football season on a particular app on my phone. So bad.
Which is what?
Caesars. Oh. But I would hammer the Ravens here, giving New England 3 points. A road favorite at Gillette. I get it. I would hammer the Ravens here for sure. Detroit, Minnesota is interesting because Detroit is not going to be a walkover of a team against anybody, certainly in a division game like this. Lions and Vikings are 1-1 after Minnesota looked really good week 1 and then
they got
awful
exposed
week 2.
They got exposed by the Eagles.
I'm inherently interested because of it being an NFC North game. But Detroit, I'm telling you, people, if Detroit's on your schedule, this is not going to be a fun game. You are likely to win, but it's not going to be fun.
What's the spread there?
Detroit is a 6-point dog. So Minnesota favored by 6 at home. Now, I think the Vikings are very different at home than they are on the road in general. But are you telling me Detroit doesn't keep this thing close?
No, they keep it close, but that's a touchdown game. Like, there's a good chance that Minnesota wins by a touchdown, but I don't think it's a lot more than that.
Yeah. Here's an NFC East game. You Giants fans out there are interested here because Philly's 2-0. And the Commanders are 1-1. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites on the road.
I'm taking it.
Yeah. You're giving it.
Whatever. I'm taking Philadelphia is what I'm doing. I don't enjoy that verbiage because for me, taking it means I'm taking a specific team. I don't care about taking the points.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, I'm taking Philadelphia.
I'd give the points for sure. Jalen Hurts is going to be if you play fantasy football, he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy football this year. He is on his way 2 weeks. I know, big deal, Onorato. 2 weeks into making a Pro Bowl the way this guy's playing. He is a serious threat. And I keep saying it, gosh darn it. The Eagles have surrounded him with some of the most talented offensive skill players in the league. I've already talked myself. What?
Finally.
Well, yeah.
Remember when they were like driving him out of town and it was like, he is not the answer. He's not the franchise quarterback. Get him out.
Yeah, because
all you gotta do is give somebody some weapons, man.
And they're fans. They're idiots.
Yeah. I think there were more people than fans saying that.
Oh, yeah. I think there were people in the organization who were ready to move on from this guy. And I don't even think they're completely sold yet at this point. I've talked about the Raiders receiving core as maybe the best in the league when you get your top 3, Renfro, Adams, and Waller. Who did I talk about last week as being maybe Miami, right. Waddle and Hill and Gesicki. But now maybe I'm on the Eagles here. Is that too overreactionary? Because I'm going with Brown.
Who else?
I can't go Devontae Smith yet.
No.
But Dallas Goedert's a very good tight end.
Yeah, no.
Okay, they're in the top 5. Rams and the Cardinals. I don't know what to make of the Rams yet. Maybe you have a strong opinion on the defending Super Bowl champs here 2 weeks in after they almost lost.
I don't have a strong opinion on either of those teams.
Yeah.
There are some teams after 2 weeks that I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know if we're going to get the Cardinals team of week 1 or the Cardinals team of week 2. And some of that game, the first half of that game was the Cardinals team of week 1 in week 2. So I'm not sold on the Cardinals. They needed a heroic effort by one of the best athletes on the planet in Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know what to make of the Rams either.
Me neither. And that's not overstating it on Murray. He was a top 10 pick in the Major League Baseball draft not all that long ago.
No, he's a freak.
I think the Rams win here.
Yeah, I think so too.
3.5-point favorites.
I'll take the Rams
to cover that. Okay.
Yeah, not taking the points or whatever.
When we are back next week, how many home runs will Aaron Judge have?
On a Thursday, we will have played how many? 5 or 6 more games?
I'll tell you.
Let's say 63.
So he's only going to hit 3 more.
How many games do we play? 6? By next Thursday.
Pittsburgh, Boston, 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 Boston. Okay, that's 5. Then they're going to play Toronto Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
8 games.
8 games.
Yeah, I'm still comfortable with 63.
Okay. I'm going to say 64.
I was going to say, I knew you were going to say that and act like it was going to blow me out of the water here. Like you're one above me.
But I honestly thought about going 62 and that maybe they pitch him a little tighter.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think it'll be a matter of him tightening up. Like I know he wasn't great in his first few at bats. He wasn't super productive, but he didn't feel like he was gripping it too tight. It didn't seem like that was the issue. And it doesn't seem like he's going to. Like the interview afterwards with Giancarlo Stanton, he said, Andy's not done yet. And the camera points to him and he does one of the Dikembe Mutombo finger wags.
He is enjoying this more than Maris did. You read all the stories about how Roger Maris's hair was falling out. It got to McGuire as well. He didn't enjoy the pressure of it, having reporters around his locker after every game, probably because he was worried about them finding something. But on top, other than that, nobody has enjoyed this process the way Judge is enjoying it. Bonds may have, because I think Bonds knew I'm going to obliterate this record. But Judge is enjoying this. And yes, to your point there, go ahead, throw him up again. He is going to make so much money. So much money.
He's laughing it to the bank. He's laughing it to the bank. This guy, I can't even imagine what they're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, Jay, I don't know when pitchers will start pitching him differently. Maybe never.
They did. The difference is they did. He used to not be able to hit a slider, and now he can hit a slider. That's the problem for pitchers.
Okay. All right. All right, we got to go. Enjoy the football, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us here each and every week on Onorato and Company on News Channel 13's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.